Hey, everybody. Welcome to what is our fourth NWSA Alumni Live event now, presented by the NWSA Alumni Foundation. We want to thank you all so much for being here. We especially want to thank uh, tonight's event producers and our entire events committee, our incredible moderator, Carla Codallo Hill, and of course, our amazingly talented guest, Ray Angry. We're so thrilled that you guys are both here tonight. For those of you who don't already know about us, the Alumni Foundation is an independent 501c3 organization run entirely by NWSA alumni and for NWSA alumni. We are doing some really fantastic things right now. We've just received applications from New World High School seniors for $5,000 in college scholarships that we're giving out this year. And thanks to our generous donor, David Grutman, we're going to be doing that same $5,000 college scholarship every year for the next 10 years. We also just opened applications for our 7th annual Inspiration Grant, where we give out $2,500 to help support an alumnus's creative project or business. And this year's grant is in honor of beloved teacher Carmen Ledesma. So if you're an alum and you have a project that you'd like to get support on or a business, please apply for a grant. The link will be in the chat tonight. And I'm also really excited to announce that our next event at the end of March is going to be a cooking lesson with alumni professional chef Elsie Harrell. And that should be a blast. And to make it even more fun, alumni winery owner Louis Jerusalem is going to have a special wine pairing that you can order in advance, created special for this event. And the bottles are going to come with these really cool collectible New World alumni logo labels. So we'll all cook a meal and raise a glass together, and it should be absolutely amazing. And thank you so much to everyone who donated tonight. Those donations are vital in supporting our mission to help and to connect all New World alumni. If you haven't donated yet, please consider doing so tonight. We'll post that link in the chat also. A few quick housekeeping notes before we get started. The event will be recorded. Please keep your microphones turned off. We'll have some time to chat and for everyone to talk at the end, but until then, keep them off. For optimal viewing, please change your view to speaker view, and please feel free to use the chat throughout the night. And now it's my honor to present our moderator, Carla Codallo Hill. Carla is a diversity, equity, and inclusion practitioner in South Florida. Prior to her almost 15-year work in community engagement, she worked as a teacher for 10 years, including 8 years at her beloved high school alma mater, the New World School of the Arts. Carla earned her BA in English Lit and secondary education at Florida State University. She also has a Master's of Science in Counseling from Barry University. She recently earned an executive certificate for diversity and inclusion from Georgetown University. Carla nurtures her creative side as a national television host with PBS and a professional commercial actress and model. She serves on the Thomas Armour Youth Ballet Board. Carla's other awards and recognitions include the Women of Strength campaign by Essence Magazine and CoverGirl Cosmetics, as well as the Miami-Dade County Black Affairs Council Women of Distinction Award. Miami Indulge magazine featured her as one of Miami's 2020 trailblazers in education. Perhaps most importantly, she's been married to her college sweetheart, Marlon Hill, since 1998. And I'm proud to have known Carla ever since we both went to Southwood together, right?
That's correct. That's correct.
So Carla, I'll hand it over to you to introduce the absolutely incredible talents of our very special guest, Ray Angry.
Oh my goodness. First of all, thank you so much, New World School of the Arts Alumni Foundation. I'm so honored to be here, particularly with today's guest. I want to formally introduce Ray Angry before I totally embarrass him about some memories I have from NWSA, but good memories. It's usually me being embarrassed. But Ray Angry, alias Mr. Goldfinger, class of 1990, New World School of the Arts High School, is a pianist, producer, composer, who's one of the most in-demand artists today. Ray's resume since the 90s bursts with names such as Jeff Beck, Wynton Marsalis, Mark Ronson, Q-Tip, Yolanda Adams, Daniel Winans, Joss Stone, Sting, Michelle Ndeocello, Esperanza Spalding. Oh my word. And the list goes on. A duo of Mick Jagger and Dave Stewart, Estelle, Richard Smallwood, Dionne Warwick, Diane Reeves, Queen Latifah, Lauryn Hill, Khalees, Christina Aguilera, and ongoing associates, The Roots. In collaboration with Questlove, Ray co-produced and co-composed It Ain't Fair from the Detroit Running in Spike Lee's 2017 Netflix reboot of She's Gotta Have It. He received co-composing and co-production credits for the score of the 2016 revamp of the TV movie classic Roots, was music consultant on the song It Ain't Easy for Chris Rock's movie Top 5, wrote and co-produced the song Peace for the Showtime TV drama The Chi. He composed the theme songs for television's The Rundown with Robin Thede and Inside Amy Schumer. He also created the single video Daylight, as well as soon to come with Leslie Odom Jr., an album project by Michael Bloom, and a cinema-esque turn from Parisian actress Nora Amzadeh. Ray released his long-awaited first album as a solo artist titled Ray Angry One, and it's available on all streaming platforms. One of the things that we have to dig into, Ray, also is I'm a Prince fan. I have the tattoo to prove it. You got to give us insight on the purple one before we leave. What you got to show? Oh my! Listen, I'm trying to hold back the New World squeal. You know, when we see each other, there's this like high pitched thing we do. Don't even bring out the cymbal tambourine for me right now. So, Ray, what an honor. I want to begin with some memories of New World School of the Arts. You know, you and I talked a little bit this week about how we were so fortunate to be able to be a part of this sort of test situation. But it was like the perfect, I don't want to even call it a storm, but I always say we were so fortunate to find our tribe of people, that we stay in touch even now. You, Ray Angry, were the go-to guy. I used to, when I looked at you in high school, I would feel like, what am I doing here? Because
Oh my God.
here's this, I'm telling you, you were the guy that played classical music like a beast. You could transition into jazz, and we reminisced, and I see David Severin here, we reminisced about our, like, we're gonna have a Black History show, and we put together a gospel show, the first one, like probably in, I don't know, 80, 88, 89, somewhere there. And you were the guy. If anyone needed anything, you could play it all. Tell us about what New World was for you. We have some, I see some of my former students, we have some current people, we have some people that want to reminisce. What was that like for you to enter? We entered in what, 1987 together with a bunch of these kids that would have been considered weird or outsiders in quote unquote regular school. What was that journey like for you?
It was it was kind of strange because our high school didn't have a football team. So it was people were like, you going to New World? What's that? You know? And but honestly, I felt like it felt like Harry Potter. You know, remember the first Harry Potter when they all were in school together and they were all like meeting new friends? That's what to me, that's what it felt like. Um, you know, meeting so many talented artists, you know, because art was my first love. And, you know, and I can't mention New World without mentioning my man, Harlan Harris, you know.
Yes, peace.
You know, he
Peace
was,
and love. Yes.
you know, him and Ed Love. Oh my God. Ed Love is the reason I'm sitting here right now because he told me to go to DC. He was like, you need to go to Howard University. So for me, honestly, New World meant everything to me because it was the beginning of me being connected with creatives in a way that I've never felt before, but have had different instances throughout my career, whether it be me, you know, on tour with Mr. Faison, you know, doing some play with Stephanie Mills, or being on the road with the Roots, and, you know, doing 30 songs
Mhm.
for like, you know, 20 different artists. You know what I mean? That's sort of like, the productions that we had at New World was just amazing. So it just really connected me with creatives from all different mediums. You know what I mean? So that's what New World meant to me.
And I think you and I reminisced about the jam sessions. Oh Lord, somebody's going to put it in the chat. The Friday jam sessions on the patio over there at Miami-Dade. And it was just like, when I describe to people, it is those encounters that we had in high school that really prepared us for the world. And as you said, to be ready to encounter different situations. Because really and truly, we would just get out there and jam. People would bring their instruments, and it was about the meshing of the different styles. And no one was saying, oh, because you're a Black student, you can only play this.
Right, right. You know, and to me, that's the beauty also of New World, is that I didn't feel like, I felt like I was a part of a family. You know what I mean? I didn't feel like an outsider. Although everyone came from different backgrounds, I even remember going to people's house parties. You know what I mean? And being in a different environment. And I think that's the beauty of New World, is like being exposed to so many different cultures, but also everyone embracing each other and meshing those cultures and ideas together. You know, the casting couch. I mean, come on, that was genius. You know, that was genius.
Genius.
So many amazing. I mean, so many. There were so many people that were influential upon me that they probably didn't even realize it. But the fact that people were so creative, you know what I mean, and so brave, you know, and yeah.
True. We talked about it being, it really was a radical time. And we have to thank our parents, guardians, whoever was watching over us at the time, to take a chance to say, okay, I'm going to let you get up at 5 a.m., go into downtown that wasn't even really developed yet,
I know, right?
and take this chance. You know, you mentioned the name of Ed Love, and I went to FSU because of Ed Love. Ed Love went to become a really big part of the art department at Florida State University.
Mm.
And for those of you that are not in our age group, Ed Love was the first dean of visual art. He was such a champion of all students, but particularly um, pointing out the excellence in Black students. He realized that this was a special place, and that Black students, no matter what discipline you were in, Ed was your mentor.
Yep.
So the
Facts.
genius of, and you know, I want to shout out not just Ed, but all of our instructors that accepted us for who we were. I think that's so important. You talked about your going to DC, and as we celebrate Black History Month, I want to talk about your path from New World going to Howard. That's not usually the path, an HBCU, a historically Black college or university. Talk a little bit about that. We have a lot of educators that are on the call tonight. We have some students. We have, oh my gosh, alumni that are parents that are thinking about the future of their kids. I want to know what that was like, leaving New World School of the Arts and making the choice to go to an HBCU, particularly when a lot of our friends, classmates were going to conservatories, the Berkeleys, et cetera. What was that choice like for you?
Um, okay, so full disclosure, you know, leaving home was the scariest thing, because my parents pretty much sheltered me my whole life. Um, and leaving there, leaving Miami and going to DC was was very scary for me, because the thought of New York was even scarier, because I wanted to go to New York. Everyone wanted to go to Juilliard, you know, and I was like, oh man, there's no way I'll make it in New York, you know. And so I went to DC, and it was really perfect. Actually, to be honest with you, it was so perfect that I was you know, when I went to Howard, that was the year that I met Chris Daddy Dave, and I met Kebby Williams, and I met Chadwick Boseman,
Wow.
Haji, Richard Smallwood. I mean, the list goes on and on. Like, I've met some incredible Debbie Allen, Felicia Richard, like all of these people were connected to Howard, you know?
Mhm.
And it was the same thing as New World. There was like the theater department and the music department intertwined. So I would do shows for the theater department, you know? And so being at Howard was definitely a crazy experience for me, because that's when I really got an education in Black history. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? I was studying with the best um, um, Black scholars in the nation, and you know, and then also learning about all the Black activists. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And Stokely Carmichael, and you know, and all these different people that influence you know, the culture in DC. It was such a great learning experience. It also helped me to understand jazz better, and also helped me to understand classical music better, because I had these amazing teachers who were, you know, Grady Tate was my mentor. You know, I don't know if
Wow.
you know who Grady Tate was. I was, you know, his accompanist for all of his vocal students. He was like, that was Quincy Jones's right-hand man whenever he was in the studio.
Oh
And
my
he also
goodness.
played drums with Sarah Vaughan, just a legend. And also Jerry Allen. So I was around some really incredible people. So Howard was the next level for me in terms of education, both as a man and as a musician.
Wow, that's so significant. And you know, those relationships really follow us.
Oh my,
The world is big, the arts world is big, but it truly is really small. It's
yeah.
incredible. If you could talk a little bit um, to us, to some of those, you know, pounding the pavement during this pandemic time. You know, I'm really feeling for all of our colleagues out there. Um, is there an instance where you ran into someone from New World, or you know, reconnected with a New World person, and it was kind of like you'd never left each other, or the connection you had in high school really helped with your working relationship?
Easy. Uh, Harlan. Harlan was one person I always, you know, whenever I would be in California, and I would, you know, be doing a show with the Roots or with Lauryn Hill, you know, he would always come through. And then I reconnected with Desiree.
Yes,
Is she here?
Desiree Rogers
She's not here, is she? Yeah. Anyway, yeah,
in
that's
San
connected with
Fran.
Desiree.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And there's so many other people whose names escape me right now. But yeah.
But you
Um
know, I want to interject here because as is mentioned in my bio, I had the privilege of teaching at New World School of the Arts. And one of the things I always do is, again, the art world is small. So I was in arts administration for a very long time. And a lot of the artists that I would help to book were people I knew from New World. So I'm thinking about, oh my gosh, you know, we had a discussion about jazz trumpeter Etienne Charles. And I'm telling you, I always ask people, I'm like, do you know Ray Angry? Do you know, da, da, da? There are, Obed Calvaire, who is
oh,
a
you know,
phenomenal
yeah,
drummer.
yeah. Oh,
Obed,
okay.
Obed Calvaire was, many of us in this room, we taught Obed. And
What?
I'm telling, yes, Obed was in my English class.
Wow.
And so the connection is so small. So I helped with a show with Department of Cultural Affairs in Miami. It's Etienne Charles on trumpet. It's Obed, and all I do is say, go down the list of my New World people. Do you know this person? Do you know this person? Do you know this person? And your name always comes up as an OG, You are revered. What was the path? Because I know we have some younger folks on the line. Oh, am I aging myself? That's so like not diversity, equity, inclusive of me. Calling myself the old lady in the room. But what what is the path in this time where young people are so invested in social media and they're only looking at you, Ray Angry, and you're playing with the Roots, you're playing with Christina Aguilera. They don't they don't take a look at the path that you've taken, to get there. What was that work like for you to be where you are right now?
Many hours in the practice room, but also, you know, it's really the idea of never giving up and believing in something so badly that you're willing to continue throughout your failures. You know what I mean? So it's sort of like,
Mm,
if you don't get accepted on a gig. I remember there was one year when I was in between, I just finished my bachelor's and I was about to work. I was like, should I work on my master's? Should I go to New York? I was just trying to figure out what I should do. And I auditioned for Mary J. Blige's band. I auditioned for the band and I didn't get it. And I was so mad that I didn't get it.
yes,
But so I just kept, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna still keep doing it. And then I kept doing it. And I kept playing and performing. Then I got my master's. But the funny thing about that is I ended up working with her years later. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, yes,
and it's also the crazy thing for me is all the people whose records I was eating, Common, D'Angelo, The Roots, Wynton Marsalis, all these people who I was just enamored with, you know, I just kept listening to the music, kept getting it in my system. And then years later, I'm like friends, you know what I mean? I'm like friends with them. You know what I
yes,
mean?
yes.
So I don't know how to explain that other than don't give up. You know what I mean? I just, I love learning. I'm still learning now. I feel like, you know, it's a marathon, you know, and it's just really about believing in yourself and being true and being the best version of yourself. So I guess for me, it's always been about just really being true to who I am, but also being honest about what I want. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
so I think that's been a journey for me. It's really been self-evaluation, evaluating myself and really, waking up at 7 and shedding, you know what I mean? Or
Yes.
working out or having meetings with people or, you know what I mean? Just really exploring my ideas and seeing them come to life.
I'm really, I thank you for talking about that because in this artistic life, there is that rejection that will make you just want to say, okay, you know what? I'm just giving in. I'm gonna punch my card every day, and I'm not going to believe in this creative part of me. Um, so I think that's an important message for all artists out there, all creatives that are on this call today. The other thing is to Ray, you are really expanding what it is to be an artist. I want you to talk a little about one of the passions that you're working on now is that you're creating a record label, but it's not just about promoting artists or you know making someone think that they're I mean, yes, we want them to be successful, but you also have an interest in artists looking at themselves as business people. Can you talk about this venture?
Yeah, so I just have this is weird because it's a crazy idea that I have. I have this idea of creating a record label that's that changes the narrative of what it means to be a creative, and it's really a label that's about connecting folks and creating fair trade for creatives. That's really, really, in essence, what it is. And I basically want to change the narrative of for creative. You know what I mean? It's sort of like, when you're in school studying a craft, you're studying music or you're studying dance, you know, it, when you're in school, school doesn't really prepare you for the business side of what you're about to get into. Because a lot of times you're dealing with people who never went to school. You know what I mean? Or sometimes you are dealing with people who and then they're an asshole or whatever, and then they like try to like, make you like them, and then so you end up being, so now with the music industry, now everyone sounds the same. The music is just so fucking terrible, and I feel like artists are just sitting back watching as the music industry is disintegrating, and and of course, there's marketing, there's all these things that go into it. So my goal is to bring together business people and music people and create and change the narrative of what it means to do business in the music industry. You know what I mean? So that's
I think that's really important. I mean, you are a working artist. You're composing, and I want to get into that because you're doing some really great things. You're composing some great music, but you're also using it as a part of your activism. You talked about all of the things that you were able to discover about yourself as a musician, as a Black man, and your experience at Howard. And if anyone follows you, they see that you have been in these streets literally, doing these, like, as a fan and a friend, I'm like, oh my gosh, Ray, be careful, you're out there on the bicycle. But I'm like, more power to you. Get out there and protest for people's rights, for justice. You're really using your platform as a method of activism, which is so important. Why do you think what gives you the courage to do that? There are a lot of artists that are afraid to put themselves out there like that. Why are you choosing to be so, I mean, the answer is obvious, but you obviously, you are so revered. What is compelling you to have this piece of activism in your life?
I think the best way for me to answer that is I think about all the loved ones that I've lost, you know what I mean, prior to COVID, like my parents, my aunts, my mentors. And then during COVID, seeing all of your heroes, like just one after the other, like Chick Corea just passed away.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like, man, it's like all of our, like, back in the day, jazz musicians, there was this sort of like, mentor kind of thing happening, where you were getting the information right from the source, where right now that's not the case anymore because everyone's gone. So to answer your question, I think I just have empathy for people, and I'm at a point now where I don't really give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I want to like do as much as I can to help as many people as possible. And I don't, and I'm not trying to be puffy, and I'm not trying to be Rick Ross or, these people that use their platform to show how much money they have, but they're not really helping anyone. You know what I mean? They're sort of helping people, not really, but I really want to get in and really change the music industry, you know what I mean? And help people and use music. Music is a powerful tool. It can change the world. It can bring people together, you know what I mean? And so I just want to use it for what I think it's supposed to be used for, to create beauty and unity and harmony in the world, you know what I mean? We got rid of Trump, and it sort of feels like a weight has been dropped off of everyone, you know what I mean? But I still think that music can still heal the world. And when everyone is looking at their phones and no one likes how they look, everyone likes how someone else looks, they love someone else's life, you know what I mean? There's a lot of suicide happening, a lot of kids that don't that they don't get enough likes. They you know what I mean? They feel
Yes.
like they feel bad, but the music isn't helping. You know what I mean? This is just my opinion. You know what I mean? And so I just want to be an influencer in a different way and really, you know, music, I don't know, music is my weapon and I want to use it for good.
So segueing right into your song, welcome, I think it's called Welcome to My Life, Don't You?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Talk about that in terms of your activism and the inspiration for that song. And I want to say it's available on all platforms, yes?
Yep.
All right.
So that song came about initially. I was working with Leslie Odom Jr. I was at a writing camp at Skywalker's Ranch in California. Beautiful facility. I mean, my God. Anyway, so I was there with like maybe 20 of the best songwriters in the world, best musicians, best music producers. And we're just in there, like, just writing songs, and we're in different groups. And then one of the writers who was his name is Raphael, who was an amazing actor and director as well as a songwriter. So he had this movie called Blind Spotting, which we saw on the ranch. Once we were finished with once we were at the end of our writing session, and the movie was called Blind Spotting, and it was about the how life is like in Oakland, and it's sort of like the same story with what's happening now with police violence, same story. And so my team partner at the time was Imani, and we saw this movie and we were like, oh, let's go write something, and we wrote that song.
Wow.
And initially we wrote it for Leslie, but I don't think it fit with the theme of his album, because the album was called Mr. And so I'm a huge fan of Shirley Bassey. So,
oh my gosh. Woo! That's how I'm going to retire. I'm the chanteuse.
Oh my God.
Shirley Bassey. Listen.
I'm a huge
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan. Right. It's me being Mr. Goldfinger, and to do a song with her. Oh my God. Kill me, So I just happened to meet her manager. I said to a friend of mine, I want to work with Shirley Bassey. And she found her manager, and we were conversing, and I was sending back, was corresponding, and I was sending her music, and I sent her that song, and she was like, she didn't feel like the song was, it was someone younger should sing the song, And then George Floyd died.
Wow.
And my friend Imani, who I wrote the song with, she was like, you know what? We should just release the song and give the money to charity, give the money away, And I was like, you know what, that's a great idea. And so then I reached out to some friends, and I had some friends that worked at the Harlem School of the Arts. So we gave a portion of the proceeds to Harlem School of the Arts and also Music Cares. And that's pretty much how that happened. And it was, I felt really great about doing something for young kids. Howard School of the Arts, Harlem School of the Arts is sort of like New World.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so I really wanted to give back. And so that was an opportunity that we just couldn't, we had to do something,
That is fantastic. That is, it is a testament to your being true to yourself. And I think it is a great message, particularly as you mentioned in this time of social media, that it really is about being your authentic self. All day, every day, and going back to the legacy of New World and our opportunity to have attended a school like that, we were always encouraged to be our authentic self. So thank you so much for all that you're doing with regard to social justice. It's so important to be able to do that in an authentic space. Before we take questions, I have to get questions about the road. I'm selfishly, I must know more about Prince. You brought out the cymbal tambourine.
Oh my God.
So I need to know, I have my own little story about how I got to go on stage with him and sing. It was like a fan moment. Listen, Ray, I'm not taking up your time here. That could be a whole other New World School of the Arts
My God.
forum thing.
Yeah.
But just to, you know, the stuff that you've done, I remember watching your creative direction with Lauryn Hill, which was so gorgeous. And your musicality is just enormous. It just boggles my mind.
Yeah, I have a special relationship with her. Yeah, it's weird, man. Like, you know, a lot of people complain about her, but she and I get along like no problem.
I think when I
Love
see
her.
you with her, it is like it's her best self. So whatever the relation, and I don't know her to say that, but just
Well, I'm not afraid of her. I'm just very honest with her. If she does something, I'm like, I think that's whack, you know, and she'll be like, do it anyway, you know, and we'll do it. And she's like, okay, yeah, that was not good. Like,
was there a moment in your career where you were like, you had to pinch yourself that you couldn't believe you were working with?
Oh my God. Oh my God. There's so many moments like that, but I'll give you two. The first one being me being at Abbey Road with Mick Jagger and Dave Stewart.
At the same time?
Yes. And in Abbey Road. And you know, and you know, I was playing, you know, I was working with Joss Stone at the time, and they were doing a film called Alfie. They're remaking Alfie. And you know, and I was, you know, Joss brought me into the studio because she wanted me to like make sure everything was cool. And then they were like, hey, can you play organ on this song? And I was like, sure. You know, and so I played organ, and just like so when you're in Abbey Road, the booth is upstairs and the recording room is downstairs. So so as I'm recording an organ part and I'm looking up and I see Mick Jagger like this. It's you could like pitch me like, what, you know what I mean? And he was just like really into it. I was like, oh wow, this, you know, it's a great moment. And you know, but then the second awesome moment for me was playing with Prince in LA at the Forum with Esperanza Spalding, um, Terry Lynn Carrington, Joe Lovano. Who else was in the band? So it was an all-star band, and Prince came on stage with us, and it was just like, it was such a crazy experience. I don't know if you guys are fans of Prince, but then the most incredible thing happened after the show when he invited us to his house. And I
3121 in LA? I know too much.
Yes. He invited us to his house. I got there late because I was like, I couldn't believe I couldn't believe I had Prince's address, you know? And I was like, oh my God, you know what I mean? So I got there late. And as soon as I walked in the door, he does like this. And I'm like, me? He's like, yeah, you. So he was playing the keyboard. I don't know if you can see this keyboard. Like, say he was playing the bottom keyboard, you know, and he sees me, he's like, give it, you know. And so he plays the top keyboard, and I sit down and I'm playing the bottom keyboard. We're playing on top of each other. Like,
is he sitting on your lap?
Hey. No Prince.
Just wondering.
Hey, he wasn't, but we were really close. Like, we were on top of each other, and like, you know, I was playing, he was making all these noises. Ooh, you know what I mean? Like, it was so much fun. And then Sheila E. was playing the drums.
Stop it! Stop right now.
The people in the room it was insane. Sheila E. was playing the drums, and then everyone slowly came off stage, and he ended up on the drums. And at this point, the house is empty, It's me on keyboards, him on drums, his bass player, and his lead singer. And we're playing like it's like we're in Madison Square Garden.
Yes, yes.
You know?
His after parties were legendary. His
Oh my
after
God.
concerts were legendary.
Yeah. And then I had a flight in a few hours. I was like, yo, man, I gotta go. I was like, bro, I gotta go. He was like, all right, man, okay. You know, and then we ended up chatting after that. He was like, oh man, if you're ever in LA, man, come by anytime. And you know, he was so nice to me, you know, and I never went by his house. I was so mad that I didn't do that. I didn't say bye.
Oh, well, what a great memory. Thank you. I personally thank you for that. You know, before, again, we have to get your insight on how artists can stay motivated, particularly during this time. I mean, you're very successful. Your bio is incredible, but like other artists, I mean, you probably would have been on the road and gig here, gig there. How can we, what is your advice to those listening today to stay motivated during this time to get, as we hope to get past this incredible pandemic?
Yeah, I think you have to be, I think you have to remain curious, and you also have to be extremely open, because you know, COVID, you know, like you were saying, like you know, God knows I would be on tour somewhere right now, you know. And the curse and the blessing of COVID is that it just stops everyone in their tracks. And I think it's helping us all to reinvent ourselves, you know what I mean, as artists, and redefine how we live in this creative space, you know. So I think staying open and really learning, you know what I mean, that's, for me, that's the most important thing, is like you never really stop learning. You know, and I think with that comes opportunity, because then you're ready for any new challenge that you might get. Like, for example, COVID, you know, now it challenges us to think of ourselves in a, you know, in a different way, you know.
True that. Thank you so much for that, Ray. What does the future hold for you?
Well, I hope it holds for me several Grammys, and my record label being the #1 label in the world. And you know, and I did this I have this event that I do called Producer Mondays, which is also about creatives coming together from different genres. I'm into like blending genres together right now. So I'm calling it fluid music. So it's like classical music and hip hop and or whatever the combination is. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm just creating music, and I want to bring a lot of people together. So that's what the future holds for me. A lot of records and hopefully a lot of Grammys to go along
For
with it.
sure. And I want to remind folks that they can support you on, you're everywhere. Can we buy on iTunes? Where can we buy Ray Angry?
iTunes, Spotify, Amazon. I'm everywhere. Yeah, I'm everywhere.
And you have cool merchandise too.
I do. If you go to rayangry.com, it's all right there.
Perfect. Rayangry.com. Thank you. Amy put it up in the website. I want to turn it over to our guests, our friends, our classmates, our mentor teachers. If anyone has any questions, or, you know, but before we do that, Ray, is there any music you want to share with us that's on your heart? What are you working on? What do you want us to hear from you?
Should I play piano now?
Yeah. Yes. I'm
Okay.
not going to say no to that.
All right, let me do that.
So while Ray is setting up, I just want to thank everyone so much. I see so many familiar faces. I mean, I should have put the Kleenex next to me. Thank you for your support of New World School of the Arts Alumni Foundation. I am honored to have been there at the very beginning of this venture. And let me tell you something, the growth from, oh my gosh, probably a little over 10 years ago to today, and the commitment of Amy and David and so many others, that have really worked to make this a wonderful foundation to support our family, to support our New World family. So anything that you can do to support the foundation, I know that when I'm done here, I'll be going to make my donation, just because I wouldn't be who I am today without New World and the continued support of my classmates. I mean, we're so geeky nerdy about each other. We get on Zooms, thanks to Elizabeth Gaynor over there, getting us on Zooms, and we just shoot the breeze about nothing and everything. I don't know a lot of people that have that kind of relationship with their classmates like this. And just the love fest we had for the class of, what was it, 88, 89, 90, our reunion. I hope that the classes after us have that kind of bond. So it looks like Ray is ready. What are you going to share with us, Ray?
I'm just gonna play a little something.
Wow, bravo.
Wow.
Anyway.
I'm so
Wow,
glad that was
beautiful.
recorded. Oh my God.
Excellent.
Oh my gosh.
Beautiful.
Amazing.
Oh my gosh. I mean, and then just, you know, y'all from the, this is just what we do. Oh my gosh. Anyway, look, I don't want to gloat too much. There's a great question out there for you, Ray. Tracy Grant.
I'm gonna go in the next room.
Okay, cool. No problem. No problem. So Tracy, I'm going to bring up your question
Right.
about when he knew he wanted to be a musician. So we have a question for you, Ray, from Tracy Grant, class of '89. She's
Okay.
curious, when did you start playing music and when did you know you wanted to be a musician?
I started when I was 7 years old. I knew I wanted to be a musician when I was accepted into the music department at Northern Middle School. You know?
Yes, yes.
And at that time during middle school, and that's when I found out about New World, you know. Hello?
Go ahead.
Yeah. And that's, you know, and that's when I found out about New World School of the Arts. So, you know, probably when I was like 10, 11 years old, I knew that music was something that I really loved, you know.
Fantastic. Thank you. Any other questions out there? Listen, this is a busy man. You better get it in. Oh, this is a good one, Ray. How has technology and streaming services impacted your career? That's from Jason Raymond, class of '90.
Hey, Jason, not angry. I love that. That should be a band. Jason and not angry. How has technology helped me? Like, man, in so many ways. You know, technology is really important. It's the way we communicate. So I think, being up on, the latest software that helps your recording sound better. I just went and bought a microphone today so that, when I'm playing the piano, it won't sound, like the crappy, microphones that come on the iPhone. But yeah, technology is a really important part of what I do.
So in particular way, I was asking like the streaming services like Apple Music and Spotify, like does that help you? Does that hurt? Does that make things more difficult or better for you, or?
That's a very good question. So that's one reason why I want to start the record label, because the way the streaming services work right now, you don't really get paid royalties. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
the artists aren't getting that money, but who is getting the money are the record labels. They're getting the money, and they're not really transparent with what's going on because they're trying to stay afloat. So the artists are, sort of, because they own the masters, they're able to exploit whatever they want. You know what I mean? So the streaming services don't help the artists, but my goal is to change that, and I think us creating our own sort of platform, our own streaming services, our own label, just redefining the music industry and how we connect with fans. But I think it's about renegotiating terms with Apple and all the streaming services. I hope that makes sense.
No, yeah, for sure. Keith Trellins has a great question, class of '89. So who should we be listening to today other than you? Because I find myself listening to the stuff that made me happy years ago. I don't know. I'm lost in this. I'm not finding a lot of inspiration right now, as you mentioned. But who are you listening to?
There's this incredible pianist named James Francis. I love him. He's amazing. I'm listening to so many people, but I'm listening to a lot of Jay Dilla and Ravel and Stravinsky and Debussy.
So New World of you. So New World of you.
Sorry.
So New World of you. Um, Shoshana, how are you keeping your arms and hands healthy? Meaning, have you figured anything out regarding sustainability, relaxation, stretching, or any
Oh my
insights to
God.
be able to play for a long time?
You know what's crazy? So I don't know if you can see this. Can you see that scar?
Yeah,
I broke my wrist.
Ray.
I broke my wrist in 2019. And I broke my wrist on a Wednesday. And that Friday I had a gig with the Roots out of town. So I got patched up and I played the show with one hand. I'm not kidding you. I played the show with the Roots. I did a whole tour with them that summer with my hand in the cast. It was the craziest thing I've ever done in my life. I played a whole tour traveling around the world. You're not supposed to fly, when you have a cast, hands swollen. I did that and I played a whole tour with with the Roots. And that taught me how to be relaxed when I'm playing. So when I was rehabilitating my wrist, the doctor was like, you're not going to be able to play again. I was like, fuck that, And so I was really exercising, stretching every day, which you're supposed to do anyway, but I took it for granted. So I wasn't stretching. So now I stretch all the time. And also you talk about being relaxed. I got with a piano teacher who went to Juilliard, and she really set me straight on just being relaxed and playing with the least amount of effort. So that's a really great question. I think because I broke my wrist, it made me learn to relax, because now I'm playing more piano now than I was before my wrist was broken. You know what I mean? So,
Wow.
yeah, it's being relaxed is, oh my God, it's a must. And especially when I'm working out. So, you know what I mean? I try to really, be mindful of my body,
Yes.
It's very important.
Yes, yes, yes. Listen, I want to say how honored I am, number one, to be even thought of for this interview with a classmate who, again, I want to reiterate how genius I've always thought you are, Ray.
Wow.
You and you're very welcome. And as with many people on this Zoom tonight, we are fans, we are friends. Your success is our success. Know that we are rooting for you all, for you, for all of our classmates, but and what you're doing in terms of using your platform for social justice is so important. And I just want to thank you for being your authentic self.
And
It's so
artistic
important.
justice.
There it is. There it is. We have
Artistic
come.
justice.
Yes, artistic justice. We have come to the close of tonight, but what an honor to just be with you in this space with our friends, with our family. So
Wow.
thank you for trusting me this evening, Ray. Thank you for trusting me with this endeavor at New World School of the Arts Alumni Foundation. I want to turn it over to David Schwartz, who's going to close us out.
Yeah, again, thank you guys both. This was amazing. And we're going to leave the chat going and the conversation going if folks want to unmute their microphones and hang out for a little while and talk with you guys if you're open to staying for a few minutes.
Yeah.
And just again, want to reiterate how glad we are at the Alumni Foundation to be able to help present evenings like this and to help do the other things that we do, the grants that we give, the scholarships that we're able to give out. And that's all thanks to the support of you in the community. So again, we appreciate your support and stay on and have fun, everyone. Thanks again.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. It's such an honor to be amongst so many geniuses on this call. Thank you guys for having me. Is that Mr. Remus? No, right?
Yes, it is.
Good God of mercy. I was so, I'm still afraid of him. I was afraid to say hi. The whole time I was eyeing that, I was like, man, that looks like Mr. Remus.
All that time I was thinking of WSA. So there.
Man, what a pleasure it is to see you, man. Wow.
Oh,
You had such a profound effect on my life, and your commitment to excellence, oh my God. Your commitment to excellence.
That's very generous. Thank you very much. Thank you. And it's so great. You've done so many things and done so many wonderful things. On top of the things that you've done, they're all wonderful. That's great.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey Ray, when are you going to start selling hats on your site?
It's funny. I would love to get into that world. You know what I mean? I really would.
You're super stylish. You should.
Frames, yeah.
You're super stylish. You really should look into that.
It's your thing. You're bringing it back.
Yeah. Yeah. Diego, what's up, man?
What's up, Ray? How you doing, man?
I see y'all set up in the back, man.
Always.
Ooh, piano, keyboard.
You know what? I'm glad you called me out because I wanted to add something to what you were talking about. I love what you're talking about with the industry.
Yeah.
A lot of people here, I see that have beautiful faces that are in the movie and film industry and stuff like that. Film and TV and video world, they have IMDb, and the way that they list credits is so in-depth. Like I have credits on there just for playing in a music video and stuff like that, And it's like the whole IMDb thing exists for video, for film, for TV, but there's nothing really truly. I mean, we have like Grace Note, which sucks. And then there's, sorry, I hope nobody here works for Grace Note. But we also have Discogs and stuff like that, which you can trying to find anybody's credit in there is like, you might as well try to go find the Holy Grail, because it's really impossible to really, really know who worked on something, who did what. And that kind of stuff just doesn't exist in our world. And it's created that way. That's the way that it exists. Because at the end of the day, if you think about it really, and what Ray was talking about a little bit with the way that record labels work with royalties, imagine that it costs you $100,000 to record your record and you go gold, which is, 500,000 copies. You've paid for that record 4 times over. And when you go platinum, it's more like 10 times that you've paid for that record, but you'll never own that record.
You'll never see that money.
And you'll see
a small portion of it.
And where it gets really, really fucked up is, let's say 10 years down the road, 15 years down the road, a band like, let's say, Flock of Seagulls, which never really had much more success after the 80s. They did some touring, they've done some stuff, but these guys, they could sell 10,000 copies of their greatest hits, but the record labels will never put it out because 10,000 copies is nothing to even worry. So the artist isn't making the money, the record label has no interest in making the money. And you have this circular thing where music is really just created for the love of making the art, because you're going to get screwed across the board every single time.
Yeah, the business, the problem with it is the business piece is missing. You know what I mean? And that's to our fault, artists are only focused on the music, because the business. Let them handle it. We just want to work. I just want to work on my art. And with that mindset, that's why the music industry is the way that it is, because you can't live without music. Yeah. Even when you die, you're going to have music at your funeral.
Yeah.
Music is such an important commodity that everyone just sort of takes for granted. And there's no structure to the industry. There's no, no one has taken the initiative to change that, because what you just said is so right. Why don't people know who played on what record? Why don't people know the credits? You know what I mean? Like the record label, they don't care because they got their money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then if you have there's so many labels that only care about the bottom line. They don't really care about the music. So, but I think it's going to change. I'm going to try my best to to change it. You know, of course, you need a hit record for people to start listening to
True,
the conversation. You know, so so I'm working on some really exciting projects, and I hope to be able to remedy, you know, find a solution to that much needed problem. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And Jason, there's no dueling because I don't even come close to that shit. I don't duel with Ray.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, so much so that when I was in the studio and I needed to lay down some organ, we were in New York. We ended up with Ray actually playing on my band's record because, yeah,
That was a fun session.
that was great. That was
so random.
Still my most favorite recording of all time. I love that. It's just some of the coolest shit ever.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool reconnecting with you through Jerry Barnes.
Jerry Barnes, yeah.
That was crazy because I didn't know that there were New World people in New York.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
That's
You
so
know,
I had to just come
amazing.
up-
There's like
I
a
had to just come up
million
there
New
for
World
that.
people in New York.
Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah.
I still work with Jerry. I still work with Niall. I'm still
Yeah.
with Niall, so yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's very cool, man. It's so good to see you, bro. So
Yeah,
really
likewise, man. Good to be seen.
Hey, Ray, how are you handling all the social media stuff? That's such an important part of the business these days to build your own audience. And that's kind of what gets you free from the labels. So how are you
Yeah,
handling that? Why
so-
can't I find you?
Well, I have a project manager, someone is a social media person that helps me with that. Yeah, so I'm currently working on that. Yeah.
I see you everywhere. So I think it just depends on what you tuned into in the algorithms.
Yeah. Yep.
Are you on Twitter?
I am, but I don't really post a lot on Twitter. I should post more. I don't post a lot on Twitter, but I need to, yeah.
He broadcasts on Instagram when he practices, if you want to, which is nice.
Yeah, right. I'm always
We
practicing.
should all do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Treva, what's happening?
Hey, what's going on, typing class, buddy?
Yeah, how's that voice?
The voice is awesome. Teaching music. It's so funny that you recognize Mr. Remus. Hey, Mr. Remus. I taught his daughter at the school I'm currently at, South Miami Magnet.
What?
And it's so funny when I saw him, I immediately went right back to New World. I was like,
Right.
and like together, you know, I just wanted to be perfect and
Right. Exactly.
but I'm good. I'm doing stuff locally here, and I don't post a lot. It's crazy. I should, I guess, but you know, I guess it's that humble side of me that's like, you know, if it's gonna get out there, they'll find it. You know, somebody will post it or whatever. But I'm just doing what I love doing. I'm glad I found you. And so I whenever I see you go live, I'm like, I gotta stop what I'm doing and watch Ray.
Awesome. Yeah, that's right. We had that typing class together. That's right.
Yeah, but I'm glad to see you. I'm so glad I came on tonight. And Amy and David, guys, thank you for this. You know, we kind of get to just kind of reminisce about, you know, 30 plus years ago, you know, and it just immediately takes us back, you know, to that. God. And you know, going in Miami-Dade in the classrooms, going up the escalator, you know, going having TGI Fridays up on the roof. So, you know, I really I love this. I love this, you know, and even though we're 50 plus years.
I know.
Who said
I
that?
am not plus. Don't even try and plus people. Don't even try and plus people.
Give or take. But I mean, I'm glad to see
nor
everybody.
give nor take nor give.
Oh, now we don't want to claim that we're eligible for the vaccine.
You know, I have a funny story. So I'm in LA and I'm working with this is really funny. So I'm working with Iggy Azalea, who's a huge star at the time, and we're doing the MTV Music Awards, and I'm like working with you know, and they want ballerinas, you know, and so somehow Did Desiree connect us together? Yes. Desiree was like, oh, you need to call Leonardo. And he came in and hooked it up. He hooked it up. That was a great opportunity to work with you for the MTV Video Music Awards that year.
It was crazy though, people. It was
That
crazy.
was crazy with all those ballerinas.
It was nuts, but it was fun. Yes, thank you. That was a great experience for me too.
Yeah, you killed it.
We had fun.
Yeah.
Look at that. The connections are.
I see Tracy's on here.
Yeah.
What's happening, Tracy?
Why can't we see your face?
Oh, I haven't brushed my hair in days. You're not going to see my face.
Girl,
Girl,
please.
Oh my
please,
God.
please.
Come
Show
on.
yourself.
Come on.
But it was funny.
I haven't worn pants in days. Okay?
You look like a crazy person.
I'm not wearing them now.
Family.
But Ray, with you talking about your wrist, because that's when Desiree and I saw you when you came to San Francisco. And I remember saying to her, how is he up there playing?
Yes.
With
That's
his
right.
all fucked up?
I used to practice with tension, thinking that, oh, I need to it's a part of the gig.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, it's supposed to hurt, music hurts,
Yeah.
That's not the way it's supposed to go.
So I was just noticing how relaxed you are and like the velocity that you're getting and the arpeggios in both hands, and if that's from letting go, but it's a lot to let go.
You have no idea. You have no idea. I mean, when COVID started, I was, it was not even a year yet. You know what I mean? So I was still rehabilitating my wrist, but I was practicing very slowly. I mean, I could barely do this. I could barely do that, but then now it's.
Nice. And are you even doing that with your wrist, or is it just now just even in your fingers, or what would you?
Well, I've just been practicing so slowly and deliberately, and also practicing being very, very loose.
Yeah.
Very relaxed.
And it's not letting any extra thing come in there.
Huh?
Not extra movement, not having no extra muscles, no extra movements.
Yeah, but sometimes you have to use your wrist and your arms. But I try to be mindful of what's needed at the time so that I stay relaxed.
Yeah, like even your shoulders. I was so impressed. I was like, you're not even moving your shoulders or your neck or your head. Or
It's crazy because I've been working out, and because I've been working out, it's been like straightening out my body. Whereas before, when I was playing, it would be more like this, like you know what I mean. But now it's sort of like I'm more conscious of my body movement. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Me?
Yeah.